Let me see if I can get us going and make sure we're good here. Make sure it's unmuted for a second. Give me a second. Where we at? Where we at? Lives. Huh? Uh-oh. Are we actually live or not? Yep, we're live. We're live right here, but why can't I find my video? Yeah, Mom, where's my video? Oh, it's not showing up. Oh, there we are. Sorry, a little pleasure in there. It's not showing up. Oh, there we are. Sorry, a little pleasure in there. Give me a few more seconds. Just gonna mute that, and then I gotta add the description, which is very important for this video. Huh. How do I get to that if I... There's a way, I just don't know how. Bum. Ah, there you are. Finally, popped up. That's what I was looking for right there. Alright, we get this done. Just put this real quick. So everybody knows in this very special day and something mighty is upon us, hopefully. Sorry if my voice is a little down. I've had a rough day and I needed to relax a little bit, so I don't know if we're gonna do much hunting or if we're just gonna be walking. But right now I just need to talk. Tell a story about how the experience of a gaming in the community I thought I was gonna be perfect for came. No, it's not really the right I'm trying to say. That's the problem. I don't know how to speak that well. I think all this works. I think that's good. New tales with new friends. So much for that. Sorry, I just... Oh, there's a lot of reminders right now that it's gonna take a little time to move on. No. So that's all good. Nope. Okay, good. Alright, sorry guys, it took me longer than I thought, and then I had that moment right there, and it's just hard right now. Hopefully that's showing. Refresh it. Ah, yes. And there it is. The most important thing in this video. In the description, just waiting to be found, hopefully. It's been a long 3 weeks, and I went from having the time of my life to, well, I don't know what really came to describe some of it. Can't remember it because, unfortunately, being a little touched in the head, I had an episode in there. Don't remember bits and pieces of it. It was so powerful. It's not the community's fault. I'm not trying to blame them on that one. That was my fault. I should have took the precautions when my mother was hospitalized. I know how easy change and stability is. But I had found something I've been looking for. For a very, very long time. Oops. Get rid of it. Nope. There we go. Damn it. Nope. And there we go. Oh, no, I don't. God damn. Sorry. A little flustered, a little confused. unfortunately happens, but unfortunately that's kind of ironic since that started a lot of my problems. You see, so much of the world I love is gaming, is going online. And if I can have any way of showing you, well, it's single player, because it's not easy for someone like me to go online and play with a random. No offense, I'm not disrespectful when I say that, but that's what you are to me. Just someone that pops in from a moment and it's gone the next. The problem is, a lot of my friends are like that too. I make a few here, and then either I become unbearable and they decide to leave, or life gets in the way and there's so few that I just never really hear from them that much. It's not like everybody else that could just walk out the door and go down the street and make friends wherever they go. It seems so easy for them. I wish I could do that. I wish I could have a normal way of seeing the world like other people. But I don't. Listen to that. May not be real. But a lot of the thoughts and feelings that go through my mind aren't real. And they do so much more destruction and damage to both me and the world around it. I'd rather be here, playing a game, and just being someone else for a little while. Maybe a detective, investigating crime if I find something that works with that. Or an investigator hunting ghosts with some friends I made inside of a community that I found, rather than found me. Something I was searching for a very, very long time. A close-knit group of gamers who would play and available to play. And all you had to do was just be part of the group. And I was for a time. And I made some good friends. But they're gone now. Maybe they would want to be friends and continue, but the rules of their server are clear. My actions will not be tolerated by them, because they will see me as a rival now. All because the problem wasn't me. I tried to change as much as I could on my part, but they just didn't understand that if you're struggling to read what a person's sending you through a chat that is jumbled and filled with crazy things that you're saying just is misconceptions and understandings, then why couldn't you just stop, breathe, and simply click a button and use a different form of communication? I could have tried to instigate it, but why should I try if you're not even willing to do it yourself? It's such an easy thing to do, really. It's actually better than trying to use the chat interface, because then you get to tell all the details in one quick session at a faster pace than you could ever type. But no, that's not the problem I have with the chat. I can handle the chat as long as it's not coming at me in a symbiotic, like no, not symbiotic, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, whatever, like fashion, where it's just so many words coming at me. Because that's all they are when I see them, words, without context. And that's the problem. I don't do good with words that are just that. No meaning, because the voice is not there to be able to handle it. Or the person who wrote the message didn't take the extra time just to put the extra details needed to clarify anything that could possibly be confusing. It's not hard, or legal, or medical, or all that bullshit you tried to tell me was the reasons you couldn't do a lot of the things to just simply make it easier for me to function inside your structure. Because it was your structure. I can't change that. That's on you to fix if it's got a flaw. And if a person who is the most susceptible to it discovers that flaw and brings it to your attention, and your answer is to, well, if you don't fit you, then go, be gone, whatever you want to say. But in the end, it's all the same. Conform, and we'll toss you like trash. And I'm used to that. There's all kind of people that just don't want to take a little time and be human. And understand that this world is full of different people of all walks in life. Some hindered by being touched by darkness of the mind. And others hindered by the scars of life as general. Sometimes they just need to be patient and take a breath and actually ask them what they need to function. If you are trying to foster a community to play games, but that's the problem. It wasn't a community that you were building. You were building an LFG because that's all you wanted to do was play games. But the problem was that my fall was my fault the first time. But the odds that a person rebuilds themselves and then has another fall less than a week later is not usually the case of them. But those that are too worried or too stupid to understand not to help in a way that hinders and causes chaos, as I've said so many times to this community. And in the end, they prove that they can't be what I need. Because they're too dangerous. Because they can't take responsibility for the environment that they're creating and fostering. And because of that, the second fall was their fault, instigated by somebody listening in a chat to people discussing mental health issues and trying to help their friend through a stressful time and just not understanding how not to ask leading questions. So you sit there silently waiting for something to happen because you witnessed it. I'm sorry I scared you that night, my friend. Former friend now. For when you changed your name and never came to me, told me what happened, and let me know you were scared, and I could have tried to help you because it was my fault. You did none of that. You didn't go to our closest friend whose literal job is caregiving and actually says he knows a lot about this and has been helping me so much. A friend I no longer have. And so with your fear in your mind, taking your actions, you sit in silence, Listening to people you called your friends, because I was not alone in that conversation, and that's something you have not considered yet, my friend. That hasn't hit you yet, and it will. But that is not the worst that's going to hit you when the time comes, and I doubt you ever see this because you hate me so much because you're afraid that I can tell you what you do not know yourself, and that I have already shared with those that should be responsible for the damn environment they foster. So when the fall comes, you have the structure that I cannot be there now to help you with. And I'm sorry for that, because it's my fault. I should have known my mother's hospitalization would have harmed my mental health, and maybe I should have been on better guard. I was just having too much fun with friends for the first time in years. And I thought I had found the community I was looking for. With the safety of a secure network of agreed upon rules that everybody had to agree to simply join. But that was the lie. The delusion of your own creation. The promise you offer through your recruits stealthily running through game after game after game in whatever way you find your people, because you can't be bothered to simply advertise what you are to the world. Because it's not about playing the game anymore with you people, and that's the problem in the real end. It's about having the bigger community and get rid of the ones that can't just simply conform, so you can have the population to say we are the biggest and the proudest, but the dumbest and stupidest, whose environment is dangerous. And it put me in a path that could have got one of your division leaders. Do I even have to keep saying what could have happened because of the... Oh, I was just walking. My bad. Where am I at? Gotta figure out how to get around. Okay, this way? Alright. We'll go this way for a while. Let's go off the path. Alright, my bad. Now, where was I? Oh, no. Still. Oh, okay, wow. We must have been farther than I thought we were. Why didn't it just tell us sooner? Talk about interrupting your thoughts like that. What? Okay. We'll walk the other way. At least I'll walk away. I know it's not going to do that. My bad. I was just talking, won't paying attention because I'm just here to use the game as a tool it can be for people like me to simply just deal with the stresses. The people who are unwilling to just simply make a structure that don't create unnecessary burdens or allow their administrative staff that volunteers to make the dang community work spy upon their members, not understand what they see, and then run to people and tell them half-truths that could have cascaded into a very dangerous situation. But what it did do was put me through 24 hours of living hell, of never-ending pressure and fear of being rejected because I was different. And none of you stopped to simply understand, one, that was stressing me out, but two, because of the jumbled mess you must have had to read and try to decipher and have to take so much time out of your way, you couldn't be bothered to simply take an extra step and talk to me with a voice and ask me, what are you trying to say? Or simply say, that is not what I'm saying, you're misunderstanding, let me explain. And I could hear the context you're trying to say. But because you always force me to always put everything in large, summed up groups in the middle of the night when you are all asleep, so that you won't bother me while I'm trying to type and send my words that you're asking the questions me to answer, and then only to interrupt those thoughts and have to be scattered and try to answer a whole new question and forget about the first. The entire system you built is designed to foster a dangerous environment, and you're not taking responsibility for what you're creating. And that's the promise you're failing to deliver. Don't say it's a structured environment if it's not. Don't call yourselves a community if it's just an LFG for playing games. You better listen to that quail over there. Oh no, is this the map with quails? They got, I can't remember. Who cares right this second? I'm not worried about hunting. I'm just walking, enjoying the lone and just talking about what my experiences over a course of simply 3 weeks, not even a full month, with a gaming community that what said was their one goal was to be welcoming to all. Well, when one of their members was struggling and kept telling them in both simple ways and maybe complex ways because their mind just takes things too far, especially when the undue pressures the community was putting on it and not taking responsibility to simply make that burdens go away. You could have made the connection through the voice chat to ease my troubles with the voice chat, with the chat system that you so preciously relied on, except for when you played games or held useless staff meetings that we couldn't even bring any kind of personal problems that we were having to because there was other people there who were simply there to discuss how to run the server because they wanted to volunteer, or so they said, to give an environment to bring gamers of all walks of life together. Wow, that bird just literally came out of the ground. Okay. Gotta love the glitches in this game. Anyway, where was I? Right, the fostered you environment, blah, 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 right. Anyway. So, when my friend who was scared, or ex-friend now, and was even then because I could not forgive the personal betrayal of him using my mental illness to hurt me, to get rid of me, so that way he didn't have to be feared, and the people that he loved around him shouldn't have to fear me and be afraid of me, who weren't, and had forgiven me for that night. Whatever happened in that game session, I cannot imagine what, well, I take that back, I can imagine actually, because I've seen recordings of how I get in those moments, because that's one of my ways of fighting it. Another way has always been as you did to try to always tell me to figure out how I don't like playing games, is simply learning and experience it and learning by trial. That's how I learn best. That's why 10 years of hell of school ended with me dropping out and finishing the last 2 years in 3 months. Not with a GED, but with an actual high school diploma in a system that fit the needs to me because there was the means to find it in a system already in place that failed me. They knew some people just cannot help it and they need help. So they had the series of bits and steps you could take. And the people that simply said, hey, don't do this and violate the personal trust when the conversation is clearly so personal. And what about those other 2 people in that chat? My friend, who I must have terrified like hell because he was already afraid when he accidentally let the word let the word transfer slip, as it was an option he would have considered if he was under the unburdened stresses I was under. And then he instantly, I keep saying he to try to protect him at this point, but no, it's a she. And I'm done. I'm not protecting her because I don't have to protect her. She didn't need to have that unburdened pressure. And if I was mistaken in what you were trying to tell me, each question after each question after each question, never-ending chat that came on and on and on, and might as well have been Latin to me, or a fucking alien language. I simply could not read it in the pace it was coming. And so I heard poaching, a word that scared my friend, or now my lost friend, because I cannot be her friend, even though she would probably still be my friend now if she could. But because of what I have to do to make sure that there is something responsible for people like me to be able to have a community like that and take that responsibility and not make it about a legal or a medical being, but just simply the responsibility not to create means that creates chaos. Ooh, what was that? Ooh, that's not. What is it? It's Doe? I think there's doe. Yeah, that's a doe. I can't quite. It's got baby ears, so yeah, maybe a male. Who cares? I'm not hunting them right now. I'm just enjoying the scenery, listening to the sounds, and talking to whoever may be here. Probably ain't nobody. Maybe nobody will find this, and my plan will fail at this point, or maybe I can promote it just right. That what I know I have to do to ensure that what people like I need, which is a gaming community with its structures and rules, understands that it's their responsibility who create it to simply make sure that the structures in place are adaptable to remove the undue pressures that somebody who is normal don't have to face. Because just because we're abnormal, don't think we're odd or we don't fit. Because we share this world too. And that's what you simply forget. Gaming is a world that is bigger than just playing the game. It's a tool. It's an entertainment. It's escapism. Some can use it to learn new skills if it's done right. Like so many simulators are becoming to understand that notion. It could be environments where people can role play and tell stories and shape futures that could make people like me come and sit there and enjoy the videos and find a little peace in the day from the darkness that torments us all the time. Unless we're here. Well, sometimes it obviously affects us here, as I said, if the power is strong and I allow my mind to be too weak against the burdens that's suffering under. And I forget to take the necessary steps to keep the reality of this world, this fictional world, from the nightmare that is my life. But every day I take steps to ensure that I can handle life. But sometimes I have to ask those I interact with, can you help me a little bit? And take an extra step out of your time, or maybe take 5 minutes out of your week to read a pamphlet, to possibly know the kinds of signs that you're putting me under undue stress simply because you don't want to learn. And your excuse is you have to be trained to know when somebody is just having a really hard time. And frankly, it's true. You do, because you're too stupid to realize somebody's struggling to communicate through a chat system that must have seemed like gibberish at times, and is constantly editing and having to correct it over and over and over. And you cannot see that is a sign that you could just take one step more to help? Well, yeah, you do need training, my friend. But you were still there when I needed you. You made the noise stop when I could not. When it became too much. In that moment, fear came again so soon. But this time it was not anger, or hatred, or despair. It was hilariousness of all things. Because after all that hell and unburdened pressures you all put me through about wanting to transfer a squad when I never said I wanted to, no, not even the squad, you wanted me out of your division. Why else be the division leader and come talk to me? If it was just the squad, why not the squad leader? Because it wasn't ever about just moving me to a place that was better for me. It was for you to get rid of me because you didn't want to deal with my burdens. You couldn't take a few extra steps to make me feel welcome like you promised. Like you specifically, my Division X division leader, said you wanted to create when I came to you about that very person that literally had me laughing in hysteria because I had such an unpleasant gaming experience that it shook me to the core. Almost like the very friend who betrayed me. And you said you did not want to foster that type of environment, that you wanted to take the responsibility to make that better. That. The ability to just play games, okay? Fine, just play your games. I'm not looking for a community that's just there to play games. Yes, that's what we're here for, because that's what makes all of us connected in the end. We may play games for the play of it, the fun of it, or the tools, or the tranquility it gives us. Just listen to the wind, that fake wind. The sounds of the birds are so peaceful. Why wouldn't we be drawn to this? To the others. But when this is vastly becoming online, and the real world in which we struggle so much already is becoming the game that we play every time we turn around. We need a safe space that is not about catering to laziness or any of that, but somewhere where people that have trouble simply operating in societies can come and occupy safely. And those who are willing, not touched or harmed, but maybe a friend of somebody who is touched or struggling with other types of demons or disabilities. Maybe you've got a family that taught you something a little about what it's like for them, and you want to use that knowledge to create an environment that can foster a responsible gaming zone where people who need a little extra protection can be safe from those who don't know how to be good friends and simply not ask leading questions, so that a little rat who is scared and never came to you to tell you that you scared them, changed his name and never told you, secretly following you from chat to chat to chat without you realizing it until after, listening to everything you say, and then reporting it back to my division leader, who came at me with a system that was always going to end up in failure. And if it was a system that way done in person, might be all that is heard. And that terrifies me. That's why I use this to be the shield that protects the world around me, because I am responsible for what I do. And so I have to be responsible for the type of environments I put myself in. And in the environment I find is not responsible enough to see the dangers that they are creating and simply take a little unnecessary burdens, which is mainly the only step you really have to take. You didn't have to take the grandiose idea that I will now use to build a community catered to a simple goal. We will be a community first who plays games so that they are to be the tools for those who need it to simply keep the world at bay and not feel like they have to give up what they love and what they need to function to a bunch of random people who don't care because they don't have to care. They're randoms. People you meet and strangers you never even know, other than the time you play that brief seconds that the world is shared. And the gateway is made and bridges the gap between us and them. That is what you are creating, not just in the game. You are responsible for what you create, and God forbid those actions should I take have turned violent. Do you know the courts could have held you responsible? Because if you think my lawyer won't listen to what I'm saying when I'm telling them that the environment that I was put in and the people simply couldn't make it a little easier to communicate and kept coming at me with unnecessary pressures when I kept telling them all I wanted was for people to stop the noise they were throwing at me. And if they want to help, please learn a little bit. so that you're helping and not hindering, leading to chaos. But that was too much to ask for. So fine. Fluff me, as you call it. I don't care. I don't need your community. Besides, I was never really fluffed. Because you weren't testing me to see if I was a worthy member. I was always testing you to see if you were really what I needed. Was the gaming community simply the environment I needed? You were the trial run to determine, could I once again try to reintegrate in the world of online gaming and manage to find those willing or in need of a structure that is responsible for the gaming environments they create and the management staff and the management systems they employ. It is a simple step. Don't let your staff spy on people and then use your mental illnesses against them. It's not that hard. It's a simple promise you could have made that you never even considered. In fact, when I brought the personal betrayal and how it occurred, you never even addressed it with me. I don't even know if you took it as serious as I was trying to make you understand it could have been. But you had to overcomplicate things. We have to be medically chained or some bullshit like that. Well, tell that to the bus driver who stopped somebody from jumping simply by stopping, letting the person breathe and sitting down and having a conversation and just being the ear they needed in that one moment. He is a hero because he was just a human. You are a coward because you use the term training as a scapegoat to be an unwilling to simply take a little time to know the signs and not put people in unimaginable situations, untenable situations. You have no idea what that 24-hour period was for me. It was agonizing. Half of it thinking that the people I was trying to give the information to help because I know I can be burdensome, like I'm taught to do, make myself easier for others by explaining my needs. That didn't work. You kept telling me either I have to fit your system. It's just like the school told me I had to fit its system. And like I told my school system, fuck off. I need something more important. I need responsible people that's creating an environment that doesn't make unnecessary mistakes by simply allowing their administrators to act like fucking doctors in that case, my friend, because that violated my right to privacy when it came to my medical prices. I could technically sue you right now if I really wanted to, and I really wanted to fight it. The VCs are for us to come together and have conversations, but you want to simply treat them as just game rooms. But we weren't treating them as that because that wasn't what you told us they were in the beginning. You said we were a community, and the VCs were there for us to communicate and talk and share thoughts and ideas, foster new friends and new boundaries. That's a public circle. And like all public circles, there is a simple promise. You don't eavesdrop. And if you are, you make sure that the reason you're doing so is for the right reasons, and the actions you take based off them are all in line with the safety of not just the crazy that you fear, but the division leader you respected. It could have ended so badly if this had been done differently. And it had been done differently. It might could have ended better, and I might have been able to cope and process and understand how to simply not get confused when everything is done in chat-based format except for the gaming itself, which we speak to each other and play and have fun all the time. The games were never the problem. The people who played the games were never the problem. It was those who chose to create the environment, and then those who volunteered to make that environment and manage that environment last, become a legacy like the numbers you so dedicatedly repeated to me, 3,000 members, 3,000 members. Though at the time, you spoke as if all 3,000 needed, like me, needed help. Instead of simply understanding that those who need help have signs that you can easily see if you just pick up a pamphlet and read it a couple times every month. 5 minutes a week. That's all it would take. Once a month, twice a month maybe. Whatever you're willing to do, because that was all I kept telling you. It's all about what you're willing to do. Because I took all the steps I could. Every conflict resolution tactic to end that nightmare failed. Because the person in charge of it simply was not looking at the screen and seeing the chaos and just simply would say, oh, you misunderstand through more words. Instead of taking the time and saying, that's not what I'm saying, here's the context of what I mean. Or pressing the button that says VC and open a chat, a dialogue, a communication that's a bit easier and more manageable and faster. It could have saved all of us more heartache than the headache. But you couldn't be willing to take responsibility for what you were creating. You're the managers bringing us together, but when one person who's touched by darkness and cannot fight that because it's something that they were born with, and because of a moment of weakness and emotional power triggered it. I had no idea what was in me. And since it awakened, whatever I'm trying to say, that my brain went there. Sorry, I saw something. Awoken. See how easy I get distracted, man. And see how easy I can go from one emotion to the next, how easy I mean, I'm calm right now, but yet when I'm talking, you can feel my pain that I'm hiding, because that's how my mind works. Your mind works that way in some regard, but you can manage it easier than I do. Mine is a shotgun blast, which if I had one, I would give it to you. But unfortunately, I don't really use shotguns. I'm training myself to, but it's something I got to get a little close to, and I'm getting better at that because it's trial and error. Take it one day at a time and build the systems you need to function in society. And as long as those you ask to be a little patient and willing to help are willing and truly open to be a welcoming place, and make sure your staff understands simple rules about the members you invite into your community. But no, you couldn't do any of that. You simply wanted to play a game and forgot that that's what I wanted to do too. But I also needed it for more than just the game. I needed to make friends because this is the safest place to make friends for me. It takes so much to be my friend because you have to be willing to know the signs if you wish not to be harmed by me. It was unfortunate that game session that I lost control in. My friend who I thought would be my help hand with that was not there in time. And I can only imagine what he must have came into when he finally did arrive and find me in that state. I only hope the training he did happen to have, because he was a caring person, can go to his friend that he still doesn't know or does know, I don't know. But I told the community, I know the signs of PTSD. I know when somebody takes an action without thinking, trying to help, but in really trying to avoid. And that is a step that weakens the mind. And if there's any darkness that is lying in wait, well, congratulations. Because you didn't simply make sure your administrative staff was told. Don't spy on obvious conversations that are personal. He used information that could have resulted in the division leader who wanted to create a welcoming community in a very dangerous situation that either she was afraid and simply didn't want to deal with me either, or I was just too much of a problem because I was struggling with the chat system and couldn't communicate and kept misunderstanding everything they said. It's a shame they couldn't just simply slightly alter the system just enough to create enough separation between those who really needed a community and those who want to play a game. It's all so simple, really. So simple, in fact, I had it done in less than 3 hours. Well, at least the minor version. Because yes, I can take responsibility if you won't. And I don't need to be trained because I know the signs already for at least some of it. And I'm willing to take 5 minutes out of my day, and not even my week, but just my day, and read how I can help to alleviate stress for those who find troubles, or how to make sure unnecessary situations like what happened with the division leader and myself don't have to happen, or just be intelligent enough to see somebody struggle in a chat. I know that the probably best thing to do is just open a line of communication. I'm talking. A little simple. Get a little coyote. No, fox. Cuddy, which one's on this? I have not played this map in so long. Forgive me. I'm not here to play, really. Not yet. We're getting there. I feel like it. I haven't finished what I'm trying to be here to do, really, first off. I'm alone right now, talking to nobody. But that's okay, because I'm going to leave this. And maybe somebody would find this and think it may be a game. But when they hear the words that are coming out of my mouth and hear the pain in my voice of having to lose friends that I just made, to almost be thrown away like trash simply because you can't take a little extra time. But I knew this was the case because my friend told me, well, my ex-friend now, when he told me what he wanted to do to help the server. And there was such hopefulness for a person like me, because he wanted to build what would have been missing from your structure that could have made it safe. He was willing to do it, take the time and do it. And all he needed was others to just simply want to help him and choose to help him. But you just want to play games and not be a community. So be a game, so go play games. And I will build a community that happens to play games. Because I understand that when you bring mindsets of all different types, some who are so easily able to navigate the world and are willing to help, or know people that are touched and could benefit from the services, are willing to be here and aid them. I will not punish you by making you simply stay here and only here. I am not building a gaming community that wants to win in popularity. I'm not building a gaming community to simply be a gaming community. I am building a community. And if you wish to go out and stay and play with these people and sometimes, and then go out and be with other communities that allow such options that aren't as restricted and so closed structured that they can't even be simplified to help somebody who's struggling, then you can find someplace somehow. It's small, it's cruel. I could definitely use somebody with Discord knowledge, please, if you're willing to help me. As long as you understand that in order to join the server, you only have to do 4 little things. Give me a second to pull it up. First and simply, the most important, to be aware that by joining, you understand that this community is meant to aid those who struggle and use games as a tool to fight against the darkness that touches their minds. Take care if you try to help. Be sure not to hinder and cause chaos. That is all you have to do. Rule 1. A mic is useful, but it is required only for interactions if need be. But is required with the administrative staff, because that might be one of the only ways that is simplified for us to communicate. But if you do have other ways to communicate, then you can. And it's easy to know who cannot communicate and choose to simply use the structure settlement I could not. Because if you see the M by their name, they choose to remain mute or have to be muted because of reasons they don't want to explain or might choose to. Be patient and understanding. The basic agreements any of us have to agree to just simply live in any structured society all around this world are in place like all places. I shouldn't have to write down every rule just so you know how to live in a world already, or a community, whatever you want to call it, because that's what it is, a community. The world is a community. And if I'm going to take the responsibility and build one, then I have to take full responsibility and make sure the actions of those I put in charge and the people that are in there for the various reasons have just enough separations to truly create the safety net they desire. So those that fear a part of them that they cannot control do not have to worry about being set down a path to be a bullet for another's gun. I will not allow that. My staff will know to simply don't do that. And if you're willing to be a staff, then you're probably, in this kind of environment, then you are probably willing to simply take 5 minutes out of your week. But no. When I offered these kinds of ideas to make their structure better, they told me no. And so I will take their structure, make the necessary changes, and give it to the people that need it the most, and govern it properly, and find people that will help me and make them understand there are very simple rules. People are hard to trust like us. Got my words all twisted there. Let me try it again. People like us find it hard to trust. There we go. And what we're offering them, promise, is a trust from the start. That they can come here with their demons and not have to worry about having to play with people that will run away or throw them away because they're different, or they're a little challenging, or they even could be hard as hell to deal with. I am building a community first that just so happens to play games. And a community is made of people who agree to help one another live within this community and support each other so that we all can stand tall. And if that one time in the darkness comes and consumes you and you fall unexpectedly, you will not be left to your own devices like I was. So that when my friends, who were the only ones who seemed to care, didn't know how to help, and sometimes unfortunately made the problem worse and the administrators got wind of it, hell ensued. And when hell is ensued, one fights for all it's worth, because that's what the mind does when there's so much pain and suffering in it. And if you're begging it to stop and telling it to stop and screaming for it to stop, and you're not listening or pay attention to the damn signs because you don't want to be, well, trained, like you said, you didn't have to be trained at all. should be able to tell when somebody is simply having a rough time and, well, want to help them. But you didn't. And so I have to. Because your environment's dangerous and it's too damn appealing to people like me. And so what I have to do is make it better and more powerful. So thank you for always taking everything to such a degree of complexity and keep suggestively influencing it upon me, because I took your ideas of what you said you needed to do this and realized just how simple that actually is to do when you're building something from the ground up, and can make that easy setup from the start, or at least plan to have it in place once the time comes. And I don't need to be secretive, because that will only hinder my ability to do what I need to do, because what I need is people to help me. Those who already take their time and work and are willing to just volunteer 1 hour of their time of a crisis team to sit in a voice chat and listen to anyone who happens to come their way within that time frame. And they can do whatever they want. They want to play a game, you want to watch a game, whatever you want to do while you're in there. But when somebody comes in and asks and just needs to talk or be an ear or have a little guidance, you could be the first step. And because I have to want to make it better than what I was originally designing, because that's all I wanted for the original concept, if I can get an actual person who understands crisis management because they're trained as a crisis counselor, therapist, to do that volunteering too, then when the time comes that a member may fall and it needs the support of the community, we, the community, can turn to you, the world community, and ask you, are you willing to help? Because we will be sure to be donated. At least that's what I think the right way to put it. I'm going to set up GoFundMes and stuff, just so that way members who really need the help when the time comes won't be burdened by the stresses of finances, and the doctors that they could best know by having been just talking to them all along and who are capable and trained to do the work can be paid for their time appropriately. They only have to volunteer in case they show up. But when it's clear they need more help and we can take care of that, we will pay if we can, if those are willing to help us. And I think there are people. I see the goodwill in all of you all the time, and I hope that when I do this, in that portion of my server, which is already up and running, if you look in the Discord, you will find the link, Discord description, you will find the link to the Freedom from Darkness, a responsible gaming community, where those who are truly needing to find us for the aid that we promise can come be a resident with me. And for those who want to be soldiers and be the fighters that go out and play a little bit with these people, just play. You are welcome in the game bunker, because that's where you are, soldiers, willing to volunteer time, maybe even if you were enjoying it, but still willing to volunteer time to simply shape these online games in the environment they're meant to be, so that people, well, thank you for that interruption, but people who struggle with it normally, with randoms and anonymous players and having no real structure and securities and guarantees of safety and trust. I'm not needing to build a wart like they think they need in the other one. I'm building a community that can look out for its people, because that's what a community does. And bring the people in that best serves this community based off its goals. Which is why I don't want to just stop at crisis councils. Another place people like me struggle greatly is simply legal matters. So why not reach out to lawyers that are willing to give us an hour a week and sit in a voice chat in some case somebody needs to ask, like, matter of legal simplicity question. They need to take it to the full degree, because then, well, if it's a needed, really needed, and in this case I really have to stress, truly needed, and it's a burden we can aid. Or we could even finance fully if needed, if it was right. But this is not the medical, and it cannot be simply a simple, I have a disagreement and I want to sue somebody or something like that. You can go to them and ask them about that in the simplest form, but when it comes time to what the community is willing to do to be responsible for all of you that we choose to bring to us by hit call that I am giving you now, hopefully, and that promises that, one, you can play games in an environment that is structured so that you don't have to go beyond it and fear the world. It's hard enough to live when fear is so powerful in your mind. But secondly, a promise that those who also are willing to volunteer to play the games are just knowledgeable from the start by simply agreeing to that one rule, that they understand that people here will have problems and might have challenges that are difficult. And if you need aid to handle those difficulties, then the guardians, the staff, will be there to not take you, that was wrong, to guide you. There we go. Right. Sorry, I told you to get my mind scattered, especially when stuff catches attention. And as to the guardians that will be responsible for for fostering a responsible environment, we give you a simple promise, and we make these simple promises. The only thing that will be used against you is if you're saying that you are a threat to others and yourself. Not in words, baby, but when your actions clearly show the signs that what we are capable of providing is too much. That will be the time that we will, only the time that we will go and help beyond our limits. For the residents, that is simply the last act that we can do, and that is the emergency contact that you trust to be there for that moment. We ask that if you are going to come here to seek the shelter that this community will offer those who simply find it difficult to work in the world and to play in the ever-expanding online world, to be able to have the tools that is simply the game that others play. I don't even know where my thoughts are going with that one anymore. It's just so much in my mind. What was I was trying to say? I was talking to people like me, I think. Well, that thought went out the window because of whatever the heck distracted it. Sounding good, too, for a second. I'm trying to remember something about... Now, you see how easy things go if you don't have time in the short term to give it in the memory banks? I was talking, I won't pay attention, I was just simply talking. Because sometimes that's all that's needed, is to talk. And sometimes it helps if there's an ear that can listen. Point out where we seem to harbor on the most. Not to influence us, but to guide it. As a friend would do. Or a neighbor. Or a bus driver who happened to pass at the right time. There are so many acts of kindness and simple acts of good deeds that if the community that is being built fosters that from the start and holds that to their heart, that they're building this community for those who are challenged to play games and provide them the opportunity to do so in an environment that is to their safety requirements. Online, so they have the protection, so that if they do lose control, it can't become physical. A chat system if you need it. A voice system if you need it. People who understand and are willing to be understanding of not of your conditions entirely or medical training. You don't have to be. And honestly, if your condition is a little bit problematic and troublesome, then we may ask a question or two to help you make it easier. That might be a bit invasive, and we do apologize. But if we do not take responsibility to make sure that the systems that we put in place works as they're intended and provides you the safety so that way you don't sit in a voice chat and have a member of its staff run, yeah, that was it, run, yeah, okay, member of staff, spy, God, I told you I'd get it back in a second. But yeah, if you want privacy, to be able to talk to people that you find in our community and make friends without having to worry about your community, people, blah, 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 worrying about people running it back to us, the Guardians. Well, we assure you, we will look at that very carefully, but maybe not on you. Because if they tell us that they did so secretly, hiding in a chat in not so many words, or worse, we come to you, and you tell us that, and we have put you in an unbearable situation, then not only will you not be a staff, or a guardian, you will not be part of this community because you have broken the first rule. In order to be part of it, you simply have to understand there will be people here that have little difficulties, and all you sometimes have to do is slow down a little bit, be patient, and if you're struggling, come to the Guardians, and if we help you, we help you. And don't feel like you're confined or trapped within the server, and there's only the separation between the residents and the gamers, so there's no fear of the word poaching outside of whether or not, but there is no outside either, because that's not a problem. I don't care if you play on other servers, as long as when you're here, you keep the privacy. That is number one rule. Foster a safe environment for all, and don't let your actions hinder the progress and cause chaos. That happened to me. I could have done something great, more terrible than just lashing out and insulting you with a stupid comment. But words can be powerful for those that know how to use it properly, and to understand what I mean by that is simple. I once had a dream to find a gaming community that was safe and secure so that I could find people within it and not have to worry about trying to find people outside through the game itself. I thought it would be great to answer to all my problems because I would have people I could play with without fearing the world, because I would know them before they would join me. I wouldn't just join them and struggle along hoping they would listen to me when they didn't and leave me behind. How long have I been walking? Jesus, has it really been an hour? I haven't done nothing but walk and talk and just let my feelings out. And forget to turn back over to the chat in case anybody was in it. Of course, that does not help. This is a stream after all, and I'm trying to get people to come here. So that way they go to my Discord, go down to my description and find the Freedom from Darkness roleplay. Not roleplay. Sorry, I like roleplay, so it's always the first thing when I think of when I thought of a community that was going to build. I never thought I was going to build this type of community, but if no one's going to take responsibility for what they foster, and they bring people of all walks of life together in a dangerous manner, then I will be the one that won't. And I will take what they fear away from them, because I will offer these people homes where they could not offer me one. And I will steal the ideas that they said they had to have just to have the crisis management system in place. Because you have to have legals and medical, as they said. And I will expand my theory of what my server could offer my people, like me. We're touched by darkness and cannot help how we are. We try, and we do take great steps every day. But sometimes the world or the community needs to help back. It can't simply be business as normal. The rules have to be structured to protect the people in the community, both their privacy outside of a crisis of faith, which is what I call that, when you are too dangerous to yourself or those around you and you cannot see it, or you're unwilling to get the help you know you are fighting to get. And then I will reach out to that emergency contact, and they can get you further help than we can ever hope to offer you. But that will take time because I need to figure out how to get the people of the world to help me. Financing to GoFundMe is one way, or crowdfunding, I believe, is a more accurate term than GoFundMe is a particular proper noun. But essentially, I will try to make this community a place for those who want to play games can come and play alongside those who need these games to function in society safely, to be free of the darkness for a moment by escaping into different characters of different variations, to play alongside people who understand that they are playing with people that could be different than them, and only violate their trust by asking them unnecessary questions or leading questions. Once you understand the way they have to operate and know whether that is okay or not, it's not a matter of trying to learn or study or research. It's simply play the game and let them tell you what they will naturally need when they come to you. It's not that hard. Everyone who has either been touched or have cared for somebody who has, or even disabled, knows the burden of helping another because it's just the right thing to do at the time. Why can't a community's concept be made from that goal and create an environment where we can play games but have enough safety between the layers so that the intentions of one cannot ripple through all, so that one is a bullet and the other is a victim? I will not allow my community that I am now building to become as dangerous as yours or any other that doesn't take the idea that those in the world that are challenged will find their way, because what you're offering them is the promise that they seek. And if you're unwilling to make the steps necessary to make those steps for them easy, or have the proper crisis system in place when the crisis hits, then I have to take responsibility for all of you and create a community that is more appealing than any, so that way I bring those people to a structure that is promised to guarantee just that. What you say amongst your friends will not be used against you unless you are a threat to those in the moment, and absolutely clear by the signs that is obvious to those who know how to find them, because they either know them themselves to prevent it, or live with those and have to worry that that say will come, that they might be an unintentional victim. It is not easy to live with us, and it's not easy to function in the world around us. We know that. And we try. And so this is my effort to try to protect those that simply do not understand the responsibilities of what they're creating is not just a place to play games. It's a community first. Oh, missed that. Now, an hour. Been in here for an hour, just chatting, telling you my plans, and I told you about it. And honestly, I'm not still in a good mood. Surprisingly, with all the pain I had to give out, but that's okay. I'm used to losing friends because they don't want to play with me, or the area where I met them just doesn't want to tolerate me. I'm used to being thrown away like trash. I'm used to others trying to spin it around and trying to tell me I need to decide what's best for me rather than saying, can you change to be best for me? You didn't have to change anything more than simply keep 3 simple promises. To make sure your members understand that the world is different and there are many different players of all kinds that will be amongst your clan. Okay, clan, yeah, I know, kind of came out, but words are words, so I use them when they come up. 2, make sure those that volunteer already dedicating, giving up those precious family time and all that, doesn't do things that hinder the progress of these people, because partly this is a tool that will help them if we can let it be that. You can play your games alongside them and not have to destroy the experience for them or deny them the right to play. You can make it so they have the right to play. You can volunteer to be a soldier amongst our ranks, or you could be a guardian and guarantee the safety of all ranks and sizes. I say ranks, I meant roles, positions, places. I don't really care what I call them in the end. It's a home, and it's a house, and it needs rules, and those rules will keep all of us safe and not allow one person to instigate another faction that will result in a third faction being destroyed, simply because nobody wants to simply promise that we live in a world full of different people. And if we come across them on a regular basis and interact with them on an abnormal basis, then perhaps you should just take a moment and just look to know what the signs that will protect your life in one regard, but could keep them from becoming the threat they fear and become a monster they don't want to be. I could harper on this all day. I could say it all night. I could scream it to the heavens. But just be responsible with what you're creating. If you're creating a community, then remember, your members are what's important, not the activity you do. If one falls, the community should be able to be there to help them rise like a phoenix from the ashes, who never dies and simply flies on forever, as this community will do from now on, because I don't care if I'm the only one in it right now. Maybe this YouTube video don't go nowhere right this second, or VOD, or whatever the hell it's called. It won't go anywhere right now, but maybe in time, as I keep doing these streams, and I find places willing to allow me to post my message of a place for all of us to come, and all those who need the game simply to cope with the world's stresses and demons. And maybe we can hunt something. So what are we gonna do? Where are we first off? I don't know, I've been walking. Over here. Okay, cool. I got that right there. Weird. Do I have that? No, I have that. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I've just been walking. I haven't even been paying attention. I don't even know if I want to play anymore. Honestly, now that I got everything out, I'd rather just relax for the first time in 3 weeks, it seems. Maybe finally sleep a normal sleep, because I'm not constantly staying up in the middle of the night, simply trying to communicate with people that won't listen. Maybe I'll listen to music and relax into the tone. I may have all kinds of coping mechanisms, but the game is the most powerful one, because it's almost real enough that we can forget for just a moment if we let ourselves in the darkness is quiet. We can forget the people we are and the suffering we feel every day and be something more that's free of that darkness and taint. This community isn't just for those who are touched by darkness or willing to play with them. This is a community for everyone because I am truly an open community who promise I will take responsibility for what the community does so that there is no unnecessary pressures as best as we can achieve. We will work with you and you can work with us to find a home and friends that you won't lose simply because you spun out one time and people don't want to deal with you anymore. You won't feel like trash here. Look at you. You will find people who play games if they are here by the time you come. And if they're not, I ask to, well, be patient because I only have a PlayStation right now, but I will play what I can. And I will do what I can to make sure you have somebody there to play with that is willing to give you more than just some place to play a game. I will give you a community that will take responsibility, that each member understands the little step that is needed. To be here, you have to acknowledge it, that there are people here that are different and are challenged and may be challenging. But be patient, and support of the Guardians will help if we can, and if you let us. You don't have to be afraid of us. You simply have to get to know us in a manner that we are in control of, I guess, in this case. Because yes, I am touched. I am a resident of this community, but I am no owner. And above all else, the one promise I can guarantee you is the one thing that was never guaranteed me. When you speak in our channels, and it's a simple conversation amongst friends, then that is where it will stay. But if the conversation grows dark, and the darkness is too strong, and you begin to show the signs, we will step in and use your emergency contact that you will give us. That is all we can do, and that is all we are legally bound to do. As long as we take those steps, we cannot be responsible for your actions outside of that. We will not put you in positions that will lead you into dangerous outcomes. That will be on us. But the regular falls that come and go at those moments of weaknesses, you will be there to help you through them. But remember your steps to function in a world and not be a monster. And all of us might be able to play peacefully and happily and forever, and not have to worry about people being afraid of us any longer and being thrown away like trash. Lose friends. And be alone in the wilderness. But I am not lost. For what you have failed to understand is you were the trial I needed to know what was best. And now I will build what is best for everyone that like me. A place where we can play games, but first and foremost is a community that supports one another, doesn't hinder anyone, and never lets the chaos get too strong. And if it does, be responsible enough to reach out to those you entrusted with that care and tell them you need help. If what I have said in any of this points touches your mind in a way that the darkness does not, and you are seeking a home, click the link in the bottom in this video description. I could use some neighbors. It's lonely here. But we need others. People willing to either just play games, those that's willing to support and function and grow the community beyond what it is right now. The world who's willing to help us give the members at least some burdens by removing financial aids when it comes to their medical needs, if we are really able to achieve that goal of bringing those people here and giving the crisis center the true power one needs. People who are trained and not just volunteers, but choose to volunteer for just 1 hour a week is all I ask you to do if you're willing. And when somebody does come to you and needs help, then we will do our best to make sure that all of your financial burdens on both of you is as bestly covered as we can. There has to be a community responsible for the environment they shape and understand that there are actions that they can take from the start simply so that the actions of others can't destroy a life. I'm sorry, my old friend, that I scared you, but you do need help. If you let that fester, well, you won't be playing video games just to play them anymore, Bill. I don't.